There's one. Oh, that's a big one. That's a big one. That's a big one. Son of a bitch.
Hey everybody from YouTube. I have spent the last 2 weekends. One weekend I spent fishing out at Abel Reservoir in Stafford, Virginia, and then the next weekend I was in Occoquan Reservoir in Fairfax, Virginia. And both weekends, the bass were not in the shoreline. They were not up against structure in the shoreline. They were actually out in open water. And so today's video is about this basic concept that I think a lot of recreational bass fishermen have a hard time with, and that is stop pounding the shoreline. You know, I see so many people, and I used to be like this for a long time. We just go out and you just pound the shoreline when you're bass fishing. And then you just, if you can't catch anything, you say, well, they're not biting today or whatever. But what I've discovered through talking to some of my bass fishing friends, watching some of the pros on some of their shows, something that's been around a long time, which is sometimes the bass aren't up against the shoreline. Sometimes they're suspended in open water, or they're in structure in open water, or they're chasing bait in open water. Some days you're going to have like that. And I can tell you, livescope has helped accelerate my confidence in terms of being able to recognize when the bass aren't up against the shoreline and to start fishing that open water. So I spent 2 weekends out there fishing open water. I had a blast. I caught a lot of fish. Anyways, let's get to the action. Okay, here's the launch area at Abel Reservoir, and when you launch from the ramp, that whole area there is really shallow, and the catfish and the carp are actually spawning now. So this is pretty cool footage. Yeah, check out that massive, whatever it is, it's got to be massive given the kind of wake it's leaving, but that's either a big catfish or a big carp. And apparently right near the launch ramp is a good area to fish for catfish. There was one fellow out there who was apparently caught a couple big ones, but yeah, that whatever that has got to be huge. I just like couldn't believe the size of the wake that fish was leaving. You can see it's kicking up the dirt on the bottom there. That was pretty cool, but yeah, it's kind of muddy in this end. It actually starts to get a lot deeper, about half a mile up the reservoir there. There it is again. That fish is still moving. I think there's a couple of them in there actually.
Yeah, so this shallow?
But yeah, once you get past the bridge there, it starts to get a little bit deeper. All right, so I started the morning, you know, fishing the shoreline, right? And livescope was telling me I'm seeing fish. Now, you know, the one thing with livescope that I think takes a little bit of experience, and livescope's not going to tell you the kind of fish that you're looking at, obviously. Also, judging the size can be a bit challenging as well, because you know you're adjusting the sweep area size, and when you do that, it's going to change the you know, the size of the objects you're looking at. But now I'm throwing basically a glide bait near some deeper water just to see if I can get something out from underneath those rock ledges. But once again, just trying a variety of things, right? Trying soft plastics. I'm trying glide bait, chatter bait, you know, just trying a variety of things to try to get something going here. Yeah, you know, deeper water, shallower water. Now I'm, you know, decided to go across the other side of the reservoir to give that a go, and just didn't have any luck. I mean, I'm getting fish signals, but I have a feeling as time went on in the morning, those were probably not bass that I'm looking at. They're probably bluegill, I would imagine. But yeah, so basically, and this is what I love about livescope. So I'm concluding that the pattern is they're definitely not on the shoreline, right? So I turned it around and started scanning open water, and I actually zoomed in here. And if you take a look at this, you can see that bass clearly see that bass cutting through the water, and he's actually going to the bottom of a bait ball that you can see there in about 15 feet of water. Here's another bass basically chasing these bait fish around. And so I started scanning open water, and you could definitely see the bass were chasing these bait fish. And so that's when I decided to go ahead and change tactics. And you can see there again, there's a bass in about 3-4 feet of water chasing bait fish. So I decided to go ahead and fish the open water. Now I prefer trolling because I can cover a lot of water fast. There is an advantage to casting in a spot where you can sweep an area very thoroughly, but I like the troll. That's just personal preference. But here's where I'm basically going from 30 feet, and I'm going to quickly go down to 5 feet. So I'm coming over a point. And once again, livescope is showing me these bass are chasing these bait fish. So I've got crankbaits on each rod. I've got one that runs about 4 feet. The other one runs about 8 feet, just to vary the, sort of that, figure out where that target zone is with the crankbaits. And then now I'm in 5 feet of water, right? So as I come over this point, this is where I get the hit. And I get the hit on the rod on the right side. So, and let's see. Yep, there it goes.
Oh, fish on. Fish on. Fish. God damn. Oh, that a bass? Oh, fuck yeah. Well, that's a hell of a bass. Bass are suspended. Oh. Damn, bass are suspended. That's a beauty. That is a beautiful.
Bass aren't going to be the only fish out in open water that you can catch when you start trolling like this. You can catch pretty much anything out in open water, and this is a great example of it. This is Abel Reservoir, but when I was at the Occoquan Reservoir, I pretty much caught every single kind of fish you could imagine that day in open water. But this is actually a pretty nice catfish that I have on here. So you never know, right? You never know. You see these fish feeding out in open water, and a lot of times it's more than just bass. But this is actually a lot of fun. I really enjoy this.
Are you serious? Oh yeah. Nice. No, stop it. Pull this in for it. That is a nice catfish. Let's see how much he weighs.
I actually caught a bunch of other fish out on Abel, and the next weekend I caught a bunch out on Occoquan. But once again, I encourage everybody to diversify your bass fishing strategy with open water. Build your confidence fishing open water, because like I said, there are days where they're just not going to be up on the shoreline, and open water is going to be really productive. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.
There you go. Off you go.